Cyclone Chido slams into Mozambique. Well, here are some more damage photos and video from yesterday on the island of Mayotte, which was severely impacted by the storm, and it's knocked out power and water supply to most of the island overnight and into this morning. Well, at first light, Chido is just about to make landfall on the east coast of Mozambique with just as much intensity as was promised, if not more. It is actually strengthening at this time. It's a high-end Category 3 and could possibly strengthen just that little bit more into Category 4 territory before making landfall very shortly indeed. This is the latest as of 7 a.m. Eastern African time, that is the local time in Mozambique, this December 15th. Estimated pressure 946 millibars, moving just south of west at 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. Here's the storm's position displayed on the map right now, with its wind field extending out up to 90 nautical miles in the southern quadrants, and of course the very strongest winds lingering near the center of the storm, and very high rain rates and storm surge near there expected as well. We're not sure on the storm surge number, but it's probably going to be considerable from a storm of this strength. It is just 23 kilometers from Mikufi at this time, 39 from Pemba, 107 from Memba, 147 from Nacala to the south, and 266 from Nampula further inland. This is all in that northern region of Mozambique. This movement is expected to continue as the storm moves inland, and eventually it will start turning further towards the south near Malawi. So intensifying up to landfall here by the looks of things. 130 mile per hour winds cannot be ruled out at the point of landfall. Winds will be accompanied by a substantial storm surge as mentioned, and heavy flooding rains near the center of the storm's track. We're not expecting rainfall to be a massive issue with this storm as much as it could be with other cyclones, although there could still be some substantial flooding concerns. So let's take a look at that forecast track. There's not much of one obviously because it is making landfall, but what does happen there is that it moves on to the south eventually, passing possibly briefly into Zimbabwe and then turning back towards the south poleward and then southeastwards into Mozambique once again further south. Obviously it will be a remnant low by that point, but certainly some of its energy may carry over, and certainly some rainfall, which might be some good news there considering they've had very hot temperatures. 125 mile an hour winds right now. It's still below what the JWC and MFR are suggesting, although the ADT estimates, satellite estimates, are way down in Category 1 range. I can tell you for sure that is not correct. It is at least a strong Category 3 storm at this time as it's about to make this landfall, which is probably even stronger than what it was when it made landfall in Mayotte much earlier yesterday afternoon. This was an old JWC cone actually, but they kept it at Category 4 status earlier. They put it back down to 115 knots. It's still a Category 4 on their estimates, but now it's much more closer to what we're estimating, which is obviously good news for communication. These are some of our warning maps from earlier last night. This is still current though, mostly, apart from the islands aren't under any warnings anymore. It's just the coast of Mozambique, giving you an idea of those locations that are most affected by the storm force winds. And these were the estimated wind speed probabilities for these regions. In fact, even down in Beira there could still be an outside chance that the storm regenerates some tropical storm force winds if it gets close to the coast. As you can see, it is quite a tight system now, compact for sure, moving southwesterly in the end, and its wind signature gets wiped out very quickly as it moves over higher ground over southern Malawi into Zimbabwe and possibly parts of central and southern Mozambique, and what's left of the wind signature completely disappears. Tropical storm force winds though possibly continuing for a good 18 hours or so yet before it actually weakens to a depression and probably skipping depression status and actually moving straight to remnant low. You'll be able to track it better looking at the simulated radar reflectivity. You can see it there looking quite good for a while, still some rainfall lingering, and then it does die off very quickly there by the time we get to the 17th or 18th of December. More frontal characteristics there afterwards from different systems, but certainly the influence from Chido is gone very quickly by the time we get to, what day would that be? I think Tuesday or Wednesday. So off it goes there. Certainly could produce some significant rainfall though over large areas of Mozambique inland and in parts of Zimbabwe as well. We'll show you the amount of rainfall expected looking at this chart here, this big rain swathe showing the accumulations over the next 7 days. Not all of it will be associated with the storm, but most of it is, especially closer to that landfall zone. Near the landfall area we are expecting maybe 7 or 8 inches of rainfall on top of anything that may have already fallen so far, and that would be about 200 millimeters. And then inland, following the track of that storm there, you can see in a few places getting up to 4, maybe 5 inches of rainfall. That is over 100 millimeters, and quite wet further inland there as well in the interior of Central and Southern Africa, not related to the storm. Well, sea surface temperatures have been boiling hot, and that's contributed to this storm's strengthening phase once again here, near 30 degrees Celsius. These numbers read a little bit low, very low actually, considering the time of day. And further south in the Mozambique Channel, if it did emerge off the coast, we're not expecting that, but if it did, those temperatures are still good there as well, and that may also provide fuel to future storms later on down the line this season. So those are the temperatures, and of course it was extremely hot, 45 degrees in part of interior Mozambique yesterday. Well, here's the latest satellite imagery. First of all, looking at this view from EUMETSAT, showing that the storm has been barreling towards the coast, and look how much it improves in those latest frames. We're just talking about a few hours there, and just at the very end you just catch a very brief view of that daylight imagery for the first time this morning, but right at the end of that loop you can see that the structure gets much better, the eye closing off. And if there wasn't land in the way, I'm pretty sure that would be a rapid intensification phase continuing there if it hasn't already begun. There it is, just about to make landfall from the Indian satellite there that we're looking at. EUMETSAT is probably more accurate though. This is the RAM view from I think Meteosat 9, showing the viewpoint there as the storm draws nearer. Maybe a little bit more of a westward element in those latest frames actually as well. And this is from the Force 13 website, which you can check as well, force13.com/satellite for these floaters, and our automated stream is running as well at this time on our YouTube channel, as you can watch this storm closing in on its landfall, which is due at any point. Maybe it may have even happened by the time this video goes out or by the time you see it, but as of 7 AM local time, we are just on the cusp of this landfall occurring, and the storm strengthening at this time, possibly reaching category 4 status before landfall. If it doesn't in our operational analysis, we may have to look at that in reanalysis, but nonetheless it is a major storm incident here for this landfall area, and we could be looking at some very powerful winds and serious damage compared to what we've already seen on the island of Mayotte.